Legion. Hi. Welcome to my second movie review. I know I haven't been very what's the word for it? Um Persistent with this, but hey, we're working on it. So, in order to review, this is a movie on Halloween Ends. Now, the best way to describe this movie is like it's definitely different from the very first two, but it's a good conclusion, if I can say that. Because definitely a lot into this, like as me as a movie going person, I always hear about people's opinions before like I get an actual opinion myself, and so many people were just tearing this movie apart. But now seeing from my movie for myself, is it the perfect Halloween conclusion? Maybe not. Is it a good movie on? Is it a good Halloween movie? Yes. Did it work for a conclusion? Yes. Could have been better? Yes. Now again, I definitely do see it's definitely one of those movies where like you can see what people were talking about. Like if they had they said it had flaws, yeah, you can understand it. Is it outright just a pile of crap that everyone talks about, saying like it's trash and all that? No, it's definitely not. I definitely enjoyed my time watching it. Now to start off with this movie, we're centering around this kid named Corey. Now Corey is babysitting for this one couple and their son who obviously from their relationship, they seem like they've gone together. Like, they look at Corey like as a family friend and all that. No, the movie's going on, like him and the kid are watching the movie and all that. And the kid, he being a little bastard, to say the least. So movie going on, kid's about to be put to bed and all that, but then the kid disappears and all that. And you see, kid locks Corey in a room, and Corey, I'm guessing he's either claustrophobic or he's afraid of the dark or something like that. But you see, Corey gets locked in the room. The kids outside, locked him in a room, making fun of him and all that. And you see Corey panicking in the room and all that. Is saying stuff like, "Oh, I'm gonna kill you," all this, da da da. Now, sadly, this is when the parents are coming home, so they walk in, and that's the first thing they hear and all that. Corey kicks the door open. Kid kid gets knocked over the banister, and literally all that dies right there. Boom, falls 3 stories and dead right there instantly. There was nothing you could do for him. And keep in mind, like I said, the parents come home, so the first thing they hear is Corey yelling like, "Oh, I'm gonna kill you" and all that. And then next thing they see is their kid falling down and just boom, right on the floor. 3 stories right on the floor, blood everywhere and all that. And the sad part is, it was like when you see that, you felt that because literally, like his body literally snapped. I mean, obviously, he landed like on his back, but it's just shit. And sadly enough, you see, Corey was cut. I believe he was cutting a cake when that happened. So, but like I know he grabbed a knife, and so sadly Corey got locked in the room with a knife. And you see when he gets to the banister, sees what happened. He's there with a knife and all that. The parents look at him, and it's one of those. Obviously we know Corey's innocent, but obviously the parents ain't gonna see him because what they just heard once they walked in. So that's how the movie kicks off. I'm thinking in my head like, how is he really? How does he relate to this story? So that was already throwing me in a new direction. I was like, he must have some type of significance to this story if they're giving him this much screen time. So that night goes on, and this takes place in 2018. So this is the night where Michael Myers escaped, causing a carnage all throughout Haddonfield and all that. And you see, it was also during this that while Michael got away from Lori, killing her daughter and all that, that multiple murders happened. Stuff that wasn't Michael's MO. Like one dude got lynched, another couple got shot to death, and obviously these aren't Michael's because, well, one, we all know Michael. Michael is one of those people that uses his bare hands. He's up front. He doesn't use guns. So 4 years go by. You see, Lori has moved on with her life. She's doing lovely. She's writing a book. Allison is now a nurse to this jackass of a doctor. We'll be speaking on him later. And you see, Corey is working with his stepfather at, I want to say, this junkyard. Yeah, junkyard. Basically, they repair cars and all that stuff, but they also take junk cars and all that. And you see, Corey obviously has been molded by like what happened with the kid and all that. Although he was found innocent, with that type of thing too, that, it screws with you, that. So he's walking around town all these 4 years and all that, and people looking at him like, not even want to be around him. And then once they realize they're like, hey, I know what you did, calling him all types of things like pedophile, kid killer, all this stuff. And the sad part about it was that, in a way, this kind of hits reality because you gotta think about it. How many people do we know get caught up in situations like that when they really are innocent, and we just don't know that side of the story? So it kind of makes you really think. Now, how Corey, Allison, and Lori meet up is quite a coincidence. You see, Corey was coming out of a shop, grabbing his milk and all that, and you see there was these kids, punks really, bullies and all that, band geeks, which shows you anyone can be a bully. They start picking on Corey and all that, and you see, this is when you realize that they recognize Corey. They say like, hey, I know what you are. You killed that kid and all that, calling him all types of things and all that. Lori over there breaks them up and all that, and you see they kind of gravitate towards her because, hey, in a way, freaks kind of find freaks, or you can say like-minded individuals attract one another because, hey, Corey's been through a rough past, Lori's been through a rough past, so they kind of like grouped together in a way because she saw the way they were treating him and all, and with with this altercation, Corey got a cut in his hand, so she took him to like the doctor and all that, where he meets Allison because she took the glass out of his cut and all that. Which, in a way, I'm gonna talk about the cut in a way because I just realized this after watching the movie. So days go on, and you see Allison and Corey, are starting to get closer and closer together as the day go by, and they start a relationship and all that. And so this kind of becomes like a love story and all that. And this whole time you're thinking, where's Michael this whole time? Because again, like I said, it's been 4 years without Michael, and we haven't really seen him this whole time. So this is a good 30 minutes into the movie. I say a good 34 minutes, and we haven't seen him. So Allison invites Corey out to like a Halloween party and gets him a mask on it, a scarecrow mask. And you see during this time he meets the woman of the kid who he accidentally killed. And again, like I said, it was an accident. She's there berating him, saying like, "How? Why do you get to deserve your life? Enjoy your life and all that." Ruins his night, and you see he leaves. Allison tries to stop him, but like he rebuffs her, and then he just keeps going on his own way. Then from this situation just gets bad to worse. The four bullies see Corey walking, start messing with him, and obviously, let's just be real, bullies like this, you just think like, oh, you guys deserve what gets coming to you. So they messing with him and all that, and you see they hit Corey, knock him over a bridge, and leave him there, not knowing if he's alive or breathing or that. They just leave him there because they don't want to get in trouble, right? Cowards do. And then you see Corey get dragged into a sewer. Now it was then during the sewer where like you're obviously thinking Michael's the one dragging him into a sewer, and you see he tries to get away. And you see Michael pulls him in close and all that, and they lock eyes. And it was during this where like you see flashes of Corey's memories, like his trauma and all that. And so in a way, I'm thinking in my head like, is this like the supernatural edge we're talking about with Michael Myers? Because in a way, this is what I like about the story, that Michael has a supernatural edge, but it's never like accurately explained, and that's what makes it creepy. So in that little situation, I'm thinking like, did he possess Corey? Because Corey walks out of that sewer, and he's a little dazed. He gets cornered by like this one homeless dude who's obviously crazy out of his mind and all that, because crazy out of his mind, and you see Corey accidentally kills this guy, and obviously he's a little rattled by that. Goes home, and you can see the transformation this dude goes through. Like he's looking at his head, he's like, "What's wrong with me? I feel different. I feel different." Then the next time when Lori sees Corey, with her instincts about evil people, she sees like she notices something. She notices something's different about him, especially the way he looked at her, like when he was looking through her window and all that. Kind of like the same way Michael looked at her through the window when she was in school one time. He was looking at that, but he was looking at Allison, and that's when Lori noticed that, and she was like, even talking to him, she was like, something's different about him. So Corey and Allison continuously grow closer together, and like I said, this becomes like a romance movie and all that. And then Lori even told some of her friends that like it's like she sees Michael, but in Corey's eyes. And then this is when we get the father of the kid that Corey accidentally killed. Again, accidentally. And he describes this perfectly. He said he saw Corey one time walking the street. And this was the exact moment, like when after the encounter he had with Michaels, because he's wearing the same clothes and he still has that dazed look on his face, like, something's different about him. He said he drove past Corey, like, maybe to settle what everything is, like, maybe, like, him and his wife had something wrong. But as soon as he pulled up to Corey, he looked into his eyes and he literally got that feeling like, that's not Corey. Like, he said the exact words that Lori said when she saw Corey. She was like, something's different about, like, it looked like Corey. It just wasn't Corey. Like, it had his face, but those weren't his eyes. Like, that was not the kid who mowed my lawn years ago. The eyes that I saw, that's not someone that could have killed my kid. That was someone who could kill my kid. I know I mixed my words up there, but like basically he was saying like the person that he saw walking the street, that person could have killed somebody. And then we comes to the part where like we kind of see this whole tag team thing between Corey and Michael. And the first time we see this is when Corey leads one of Allison's ex-boyfriend, who's a cop, into the sewer where Michael dwells. And I think this was kind of funny because the cop's last name was Mulaney. And Mulaney, remember, like in Halloween Kills, one of the kids says, "That's why you don't f with the Mulaney's." I always thought that was kind of funny because, like, wow, we really going with this, really going on with this bloodline, this thing with the bloodline. Because even the cop said that same thing. So Corey leads him down there and all that, and you see Michael rushes him. But like, this is when I noticed that, like, people were saying Michael seemed handicapped in this movie. This dude brushed Michael, like literally, like he didn't punch Michael, he just pushed Michael to the ground, and Corey, then Corey knocked this dude to the ground. And this is when we notice about Corey. Corey does seem stronger and definitely a lot more, what's the word for it, aggressive, because the Corey we're seeing now is definitely not as aggressive as he was as the one Corey we met 4 years ago. And it was during this time where like he helped Michael kill this guy, and this is when we kind of get that supernatural edge that's never explained. As he kills this guy, we can see Michael, like, regain his vigor. Like, he stands up straighter, his posture changes, his breathing's changing. Because honestly, like, when he was breathing throughout the movie, like, when we first see him, he was breathing like as if he had asthma or something. But, like, as soon as he did it, his breathing regulated, his posture stood up. Obviously, like, he's getting some type of power from him. So I was like, okay, I see what they're doing now. They're still keeping that supernatural edge that he has. Saying it's there, but they're not exactly explaining it, which makes it creepy. Now, let me go into this. A lot of people were always making jokes saying they made Michael Myers weak in this movie. Oh, he seemed handicapped. I mean, when you think about it, it kind of makes sense in a real life term. I mean, because here's the thing. Yes, in those two movies, like, 4 years went past, which is why in this movie they made like 4 years pass. But you also got to think about it. In the first two movies, those were things that happened in one whole night. Think about it. In 4 years, he was being held captive, you know, breathing, locked up, but he was healthy and all that. So obviously he had a strength. And just one day, he got he got shot, he got stabbed, he lost 3 fingers, he got hit by a car, and then he got a beat down by like 30 people and all that. So 4 years later, not getting treated, not eating, probably not killing as many people as he could. Yeah, obviously he's gonna get weak. and obviously he's probably going to get a few infections and all that because, like I said, the way he was breathing, I'm guessing whatever, like, the wounds he had got infected, and like you could tell, like, he wasn't breathing regularly by the way he sounded. That was my little rant, but moving on. So as this movie's going on, we see them tag team another couple, which was ironically the doctor that Allison worked for, the one that I said was just a jackass, and also her co-worker, who was also a nurse, who also was kind of like screwing the doctor behind her back. We see Corey and them tag team, Michael tag team them, and we kind of see like maybe like a father and son bond, I would say. And this is when Lori confronts Corey. Obviously, she was saying like like stay away from Allison, and if you need help, I will help you, but you can't see my daughter and all that. And Corey's on his whole psychotic thing, like if I can't have her, nobody can, and all that. And going back to what the dad said, like the kid that mowed his lawn 4 years ago, this was obviously not Corey. This is a different Corey. Because, like I said, this Corey was definitely a lot stronger and definitely could take a lot more pain. And I'll get into that later. But what I'm talking about is that when back to when like Michael caught him and they transferred. Me personally, I'm thinking that in a way, Michael kind of gave him strength to do what he couldn't because obviously Michael has is not in the best of shape at the moment, and Corey is def Corey is definitely in better shape than he is now, especially like how little Corey little Corey has been taking injuries and all that, and how young Corey is. Also the fact like I go back to his wound. When Allison expects his wound, the one he got cut on his hand, she also knows that he got infected. So metaphorically, he kind of got infected with evil. And so the question was that was the evil that possessed Corey, was it always there or did the town create it? Me personally, I think that it was a combination of the town. Because think about it, a bunch of shit like that can actually change a person, and Michael passing it on is kind of like just what gave him the strength to exact that evil on other people. If that makes sense. So with Lori on his trail, Corey goes back into the sewers and steals Michael Myers' mask. Obviously, they tussle for it because let's be real, Michael ain't gonna give that up for nothing. And so, again, like I said, people call Michael weak for this because, like I said, obviously Michael in his prime or in Halloween Kills, you would never see him going down as easily as he did. But like I said, 4 years, all that shit that happened to him and all that, all those infections that he probably got and all that. And like I said, I'm looking at it realistically because let's be real, in this timeline, we're getting a more realistic Myers, one that does not heal, one that has no said supernatural thing to him. We think he has a supernatural edge. It's been proven he has somewhat, but it's never been directly said. So Corey steals a mask, and guess who he goes after? The four bullies. And this is when the movie kind of kicks off, and this is what I love the movie for. You see, maybe this wasn't like what they intended, but in a way, this is what I kind of got. This is what I kind of got because I always noticed that in the older Michael Myers movies, they always called him the Shape. They never said Michael Myers. They always said the Shape. So I'm thinking in my head like, okay, so Corey's gonna become the new Shape. Always, and I was like, okay, so they're doing the whole pass the torch type of thing, which I like because as soon as Corey got that whole Michael Myers get up and stole the mask, bro, dude was on demon time. So he scratches the pop. He scratches the bullies' cars up. They chase him back to their junkyard, and he is just on some. Like I said, he's on demon time. He he takes one stick from one of the bullies, jabs in his eye, runs the other one over, beats the other one with his, I want to say, a wrench, and then he just uses a blowtorch to kill the main one, the one that was mostly fucking with him, and then he just uses his boot and just stomps the other one's skull in. Again, demon time like Michael Myers in his prime. And like I said, he's doing this and he's doing it in a way Michael Myers would, no talking, just looking, just straight killing like a shark, like the way people say like Michael moves. He just kept moving and kept killing. But obviously, Corey is not exactly like Miles Myers, so he has specific targets he go after, and so he kills quite a few other people during this. But like he go after he sells in a few vendettas, he goes straight for Lori. And this is what made it make sense because in the trailer they made it seem like Michael was the one who knocked on Lori's door on it, and I'm thinking in my head like Michael wouldn't do it. He ain't no amateur like that. And it turns out that was Corey that she tricked into like opening that door and shooting him. And you see when that happens, she takes off his mask and like again, Corey says this thing that if I can't have her, no one can. So stabs himself in the neck, and then he just laying there bleeding. And guess who comes through the door? Allison. And she sees this, sees her in this house, and she looks at Lori with a knife in her hand, bloody knife in her hand, and it's one of those things like Corey was caught up in the beginning of the movie, like the whole I didn't do this and all that, which I kind of was like, yeah, like you could have did that better because you would have had to known that your grandma wouldn't just do this out of nowhere. You should have thought to your head like, okay, first of all, why does he have Michael's mask and why is he dressed up like Michael? And so Allison leaves and all that, and you see Michael not letting Corey slide with what he did. He comes back, takes back his mask, and snaps Corey's neck, who was somehow still alive. Like I said, like Michael Myers, we seen this dude get stabbed, hit by a car, and shot multiple times, even lose a couple of fingers. Still didn't die, but yet Michael finished the job and all that. And you see, Michael, I'm guessing, is still wanting to settle that old vendetta against Lori. So he stays in the house searching for her and all that. And you see, this is when the climax hits. We see Lori versus Michael, Michael versus Lori, good versus evil, torture versus torture. It was just a good setup because like that fight was just like yo, like I don't even know how to describe it. It's like you can tell like if if I hate you could be personified in a fight, that would be it. It was almost like Optimus versus Megatron when Optimus decides like, "Hey, I'm gonna put you down." That's literally how it was. Like they weren't holding anything back and all that. Also, the fact is, I like how they did a callback to like when Lori tried to stab Michael with the sewing needle and all that, but like she turns, but he turned it around and stabbed her with it, and obviously it well not obviously and throughout a horror fight she's victorious. I mean she pins him to like the kitchen table and all that, and again like I said this was not an easy fight. Like she literally had to work for this fight. So that happens, and you see as she's doing it, she takes off his mask. She's telling him this whole time like you're really just a man, and she starts slitting his throat. He's there bleeding out and all that. And you see, as this man is bleeding out, he still summons the last bit of strength he has, like, you know, takes his hand that was pinned down by a knife, starts choking her with it. And at this point in time, she's willing to go. She's willing to die because like I knew it was gonna be one of those poetic things, like either she kills him or they both die. So I'm thinking like this really they really gonna do this. But then Allison comes back after realizing some stuff, and you see she takes Michael's arm off and rips Michael's arms away and breaks that shit. And then Lori slits Michael's arm and dude's bleeding out right there. Police show up, and I like this because the police from the first and second movie they show up, and you see Allison and Lori have something special for Haddonfield. They tied this dude's body to the top of their car, and with the police escort, they drive it through the whole city. And like I said, the cop came beforehand, and like one of the cops, he said, "This is not how we do it." And the head cop's like, "This is how we do it tonight." Because I get it. They got tired of his shit. Like he's been the curse of that town for over 4 years and all that. So it makes sense. So a whole parade goes through Haddonfield and they all see Michael's body. Like, you have cars lined up, you have people who are walking, all that. They take his body to the dump, and Lori was the one who pushed it into I want to say a metal grinder. I don't know exactly what it's called, but either way, pushes it over there and grinds his body up to none. Like there's literally no way he's coming back and all that. So it's definitely a goodbye, Michael. And you see, this is what I say about this shape. You see, Lori's writing a book, as I said in the beginning. She's writing a book, and she said evil never dies. It just takes a different shape. So again, it goes along with that whole passing the torch of how it was Michael was a shape and then Corey was a shape, which is what I like because it wasn't really focused on Michael itself. It was focused more on the legend of the boogeyman because they always called him the boogeyman. So again, did I like it? Yes. Was it a perfect Halloween movie? No. Did it have its flaws? Yes. But was it a good conclusion to the Halloween movie franchise? Yes, I think it did. Yes, I think it was. Like it was definitely a good conclusion. Yeah, like it did have you through a loop quite a few times, but overall this was a good movie. I would give this movie a good 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10 for the last movie. I would definitely give it a good 7 out of 10. But hey, let me know what you guys think about it. If you've seen it, talk about it in the comments and just let me know. All right, peace.